Welcome once again to the Guy Who Knows a Guy podcast, Podapalooza edition. My name is Michael Whitehouse, the guy who knows a guy, and our guest today in this episode is Jennifer Glass, who's going to be talking to us about how to ditch the expensive ads and generate customers on demand without expensive marketing. So if you like spending a lot of money on ads and marketing, this is not the episode for you. If you do not like spending a lot of money on ads and marketing, this might be the episode for you. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Michael. And yes, I don't know many people that enjoy just spending a ton of money, but yes.
That is true. Well, there's copious consumption, but that's usually for like Lamborghinis and fancy
Yeah,
designer
exactly.
bags and whatnot. Not like, look how much money I spent on Facebook.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got into this, and then what are some of the ways that we can not spend a lot of money on customer acquisition?
Absolutely. So, simple answer how I got into this was back in the age of the dinosaurs, right? I mean, 20 years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah, so long ago, as people would say, were you sad when the dinosaurs died? No, but in all seriousness, no, 20 years ago, I started my business in the credit card processing space. And I was going out there, I was helping businesses just get set up to accept credit and debit cards as a form of payment. And over the course of time, my clients kept on coming back and saying, I need help, I need help, I need help. So I kept on coming up with different solutions for I need help. People said, I need help getting set up online. I need help over here. I need help over there. What can you do? And we kept on creating new solutions for them. And eventually, people were saying we still needed more help. So I started coaching them. And what I was doing then was I was working with them, and I started working with my coaches in 2017, who made me realize I can have a much greater impact on the businesses that I want to work with, as well as my own situation, by focusing on the business coaching or the business mentorship and letting the other services be the ancillary offerings instead of the coaching being an ancillary offering to the payment side. And so by doing that, I started creating even more opportunities and getting out there. I wrote a couple of books. For those of you that are seeing this podcast episode, you see a couple of the books behind me. There's even more on my Amazon page where you can get even more information there. But the whole thing is, though, is that it's really designed to help businesses grow. We all hate spending money on things and just throwing money against the wall and hoping that something is going to stick. We know way too many of us have tried that, right? I mean, I don't know any small business owner who hasn't said at least one time, I'm just going to try it. And you
Yep.
know what happens? Quickest way to lose a fortune is to do it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you ditch the expensive ads, generate customers on demand without expensive marketing? You start focusing in on the basics. You really go back to what works. Here's two really quick examples. Find the people that are already talking to the exact same client that you want to
Mm-hmm.
talk to. If you know, as an example, if you are in the bridal market, so you're a florist, you're a jeweler, you're the officiant, you're the catering hall, you're the DJ, the photographer, the baker, the candlestick maker, everyone that's involved there, you have a built-in audience.
Mm-hmm.
You also have a built-in network of everyone you can possibly be partnering with. A joint venture or strategic partnership is an incredible way at growing your business. It can be formalized or it may be loose, depending on how everybody in that event chain wants to do it. But if you can make it work where everybody benefits, think about the lowering of the bridezillas because they're not going to be going crazy because you are working with all of those vendors to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the solutions are going to be there instead of the problems, as opposed to the other way around. Here's another tip. Look at the people that you've been speaking with in the last 30 to 60 days. How many of them have you spoken with in the last 5 days? If you haven't, go back and find those people and reach out to them. Too many folks give up after the first two or three attempts at reaching someone and saying, they're probably not interested. If you simply give up because people are not responding to you, you're losing out. We are all busy. You are busy.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. All of this sales messaging, all the sales calls, the text messages, the Facebook messages, and everything that you're getting, you're probably not responding to. You think though that your prospects are just waiting for you to reach out and say, "Hey Jimmy, I finally heard from you. Let me connect with you."
Yeah.
No, we are all busy. You need to be following up with them, but do me a favor and do yourself a favor. Send them something that is not from you. In other words, a news piece, a thoughtful article that you saw on LinkedIn, in the media, whatever it may be. You can say, "Hey, Jimmy, here is a piece that I saw. It made me think of you and your particular situation in the business." Put your little spin on it. As an example, the Federal Reserve raised the rates, or they didn't raise the rates. I have no idea what happened as of the day of this recording, when that actually, what happened. But you can still say, will that impact your business? And have an open conversation. That is another point of contact. You can really be having these points of contact without it being salesy. And by doing that, you create additional value. Think about your competition. They're not doing that.
Yeah.
You immediately get an instantaneous leg up over your competition by doing that. So go ahead and do that. Those are two amazing tips that you can use right now to start growing your business.
Yeah. And I love that last concept about provide information of value. And I've over the last few years been doing that through an email list, which is a little more technical and a little bit more work to do it. But the email list was always built around the concept of how do I provide content that people will want to receive, something that they might almost be willing to pay for. Not that I've structured it to charge for it, but the kind of thing where it's not just like, more of these emails, but like, oh, an email. I would like to read this. And it's you'd think that'd be kind of obvious, like send people content they want to get. But yet most people who are using email or social media or anything, it hasn't occurred to them to share valuable content people will want. And so whether it's on the phone calling back the client, be like, "Hey Jennifer, I'm just calling to checking in to follow up," or it's sending out those emails of like, "Here's my latest special." It People unsubscribe from those or hit the spam button or shove them in the promotions tab. But if you do something valuable, then they want to get that. And then since they want to get it, then you have that natural, the number of people who replied to an email completely off topic to what the email is about and be like, "Hey, since you're here, we talked about that other thing." So yeah, it is about providing that value in the content so that they want to receive it and keep that conversation open.
Absolutely. That's one of the major values when you keep that line open.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I'm glad you talked about the joint venture collaboration. I like the example you used because we often talk about it in terms of, coaches, authors, speakers, trainers, but it works in the real world too, not just in our weird virtual world that,
Exactly.
um,
Thank you.
yep. Yeah. And actually it's also great because it means, I loved your point about avoiding the bridezillas because you can eliminate their headaches by making sure they're working with trusted partners. Because if you're the DJ and the florist screws up, well, you might still get yelled at while they're upset about the florist.
Right.
Yeah. Um.
We actually, with one of my clients who's a florist, we created a trusted vendor list.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did was we took that entire event chain and we put in all of those providers, and then we even gave backups. And we knew the ones that play nicely with each other
Mm-hmm.
because it reduced all of the anxiety.
Yeah.
So the bride just had to say, "I'm engaging one of them," and then the rest are just going to work right there. And you had the backups just in case the primary was unavailable. So you immediately had the backups. Everything helps to go smooth. And it's amazing how that makes a huge difference.
Yep. And that's a huge differentiator too. Because you said a florist, right?
Yes.
So usually it's like, "Oh yeah, my florist was great. The flowers are beautiful." But if it's oh, my florist was great. They introduced me to every other vendor we needed for the event. You absolutely need to talk to this florist. Well, I already have a florist. Yeah, I don't care. You need to talk to this florist because they're
This
going to
one.
solve every other problem you have as well. And I don't care if they're
Exactly.
10% more, you need to work with them. They're going to solve every other problem you have as well. So,
Yes. And that's the whole thing.
yeah.
Reduce the headaches. Nobody likes getting them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think a key point there too is because the bean counter would look at that and say, well, we're maintaining this whole list. We're sending all these business, all these other people that they aren't sending us any money for it, and we can't charge more than anyone else. So why are we wasting this time and money for it? Not realizing there will be customers who will come because of this program, and they may not say they came because of it, but that's still why they came. And so to realize that things don't always show up, right there on the top line, but that doesn't mean they don't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, so I noticed you have a series of books called It's the Bottom Line That Matters. Tell me about that.
Yes, so the first book, for those of you again that are seeing this video, the first book is all about the traditional marketing world. So the joint venture strategy and the drip campaign or nurture sequence that I mentioned is mentioned in that book because those are two out of the eight strategies that we talk about in the book to really help you continue growing your business. And then over here, you see the digital marketing book, and that is all focused all on different online strategies you can be taking to really be growing your business. So things like looking for affiliates, right? Too many of us think I don't need affiliates or I don't know how to even start an affiliate program. There's a conversation about affiliates right there. There's a conversation about SEO, search engine optimization, and why it is so key for our websites to be found. There's a
Mm-hmm.
conversation or a topic in there about reviews. Online reviews are so key in
Mm-hmm.
today's world. Do you know, by the way, that online reviews make a huge impact on your SEO score? Too many folks have absolutely no idea about that. And it is incredible when you have good reviews and recent reviews, the amount of juice that the search engines give you, as opposed to take away on the flip side.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be doing that. There's a lot of those kinds of things that are out there. And then I have another book all about having a um, mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having a winning mindset because we know how key it is. The difference between the millionaire mindset and the pauper mindset has a huge
Mm-hmm.
impact on business. And there's a lot of different ways that you can look at where that is. And then there's another book that we put out. We actually did three of them in the last several weeks. One is on overcoming imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
where we all face it at different times. Sometimes it's greater than others, but how do you actually slay imposter syndrome? Another one is on the importance of accountability. If you don't have an accountability partner or you're not actually voicing your goals, you're not going to be getting as far. And then another one is on cash flow hacks, right? All of us can use a little bit more cash flow coming in and understanding how we can do that. So those are just some of the books that are out there as an example from what we've got.
Great. That is quite a series.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that mindset stuff is definitely really key because I've definitely encountered business people and I've watched them step over opportunities because either their own insecurity or just this negativity, once they adopt this attitude of, the system is rigged and they're out to get us and none of this stuff works and I'm not going to do anything. And, sure enough, if you don't try anything, it's never going to work.
Exactly.
So, yeah, there's definitely a powerful mindset component there. Um, so we talked about ditching the expensive ads and working with partners and re-engaging the audience we have. Which I think is kind of one of the key points you add is once you've brought someone into your universe is to keep working with them and not just keep acquiring new ones. And then, so those are powerful points. And is there anything else that you'd like to touch on that I haven't asked you about yet?
So there's a couple of things that I would just throw out there in addition to what I mentioned. If I can, and I'm going to go completely out of the business side of things and just really
Going
stress
into
the
left
importance
field.
of kindness.
What?
Kindness is so important. If you think about the quote unquote invisibles in
Mm-hmm.
our society, the guy who collects the shopping carts in the store, supermarket parking lot, the cashiers, the housekeepers in hotels, all of those folks may be considered invisible because of the job they have.
Yeah.
However, they're not invisible. They're still people. And the way that we can really show them that they are people is by going over and saying, thank you, have a nice day. We
Mm-hmm.
can say good morning. We can say good afternoon, good evening. And if I'm quoting the Truman Show, then good night too. The whole point is, what are you doing that is going to be making a difference in other people's lives? Think about simple, small things you can do that do not cost you a dime
Mm-hmm.
and the impact that that has. If you want to be growing your business, if you want to be growing your following, if you want to be growing the things that you are doing, it starts with small actions. Start going out there and getting more comfortable saying please and thank you,
Mm-hmm.
getting more comfortable saying have a nice day to all of those people that you think it really doesn't matter to, because it does. The more that you can be putting good into the universe, the more good is going to be coming right back at you. There's so much power in that idea. I want you to think about that tomorrow morning when you wake up. Who can you say good morning to? Do you still get the newspaper delivered and do you see the paper boy bringing it over? You can say thank you. You see the mailman dropping off your mail? Thank you. Whatever it is, there is tons of opportunity that you can
Mm-hmm.
do, and go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a powerful point that it's because sometimes I think people fall into the scarcity trap of they're only going to pay attention to the people who can do something for them, not realizing that when you do something for humanity, then it will come back.
Again, that's part of the millionaire mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, doing things for especially people who can't seem like they can't do anything for you, because you never know how that's going to come back in the right way. And so yeah, in my networking, I mean, it for me is kind of a hobby, making good connections with people, and I do it not to show off, but for fun. Feels good. Um, but it's a habit I got into. And when I was first getting into business, I had nothing, didn't have much to offer other than I would meet a lot of people and I'd make those connections. And sometime later, I'd meet someone who I'm like, oh, I'm surprised they're taking my call. I'm so excited to meet them. We'd get on the call. They say, yeah, a bunch of people have told me I need to meet you. And I'm like, is there someone else in this call? Me? Me? But it's because I helped a bunch, and not in big ways. I'd introduce them to, someone I met at the last networking call. Um, not life changing, but I made some effort to help everyone I met. And since most people make no effort to meet anyone, to help anyone they meet, unless they can get something out of it, it means they remembered me out of the 10 people they met that week because I was the only one who did anything for them. And again, it shouldn't have been a lot. It was, I sent an email making one introduction or something. Maybe I made two.
Yeah,
But to them, that was like the nicest anyone was to them all week. So it really stands out. It's those small acts will really set you apart. And even if nobody else sees them, you know, the divine sees them, whatever divine you account to, knows, the universe knows. So
exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Unlike you with the same introductions and everything out there, let's just make those connections, get that value. And whether or not somebody returns the favor, that's not what I'm interested in. It's
Mm-hmm.
how can I really be making that connection?
Yep. No, that's great. So you have connections. How can people connect with you if they want to learn more about what you're doing and get your books and
Absolutely.
everything else?
So, best thing I would say is, Michael, in the show notes for the episode, will give you all of the links and everything so that
Okay.
everyone can click in, connect with us. That would be the best way. I can give you a whole bunch of links, but nobody's going to remember them. So it'll all be in the description and the best way to reach out and all of that so you two can get even more value out of what we do.
Sounds good. All right. So it's down there in the show notes and or description, depending on where you are watching / listening to this. Well, Jennifer, it's been great to talk to you and learn from you. Thank you for being on the show and joining us here in the Podatorium. And I'm sure I'll see you possibly on one of my summits or who knows where else.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.